This is Coach Pyry. In this video, we're going to go through another full body strength and conditioning session where you're going to need minimal equipment to get a lot of good things out of this. We're going to build athleticism, we're going to work on some elasticity, then we're going to be doing some full body strength training after that. Today, you only need a kettlebell and something to put your leg on or something to push against and a mat. So if you have a bench or like a park bench available to you, that would be absolutely fantastic. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and let me know in the comments if you had any problems with any of the exercises or if you'd like me to keep doing more of these types of videos in the future. Make sure to connect with me on Instagram. My handle is @CoachPyry. Without further ado, let's get into it. Let's kick things off with the hinge to sprinter pose calf raise exercise. You're going to lift that heel off the ground, and then that heel is never going to touch the ground again. And you can see how I really hinge, reach the back heel towards the back of the field or the back of the room, and you should really feel your glutes at this point. And then you're going to drive up into a nice calf raise. So reach the hips back, you should really feel your glutes taking the load. And then you're going to drive all the way up into a calf raise, and you're going to reach up with that same side hand of the leg that's doing the work. Next up, we're going to be moving into these jump squats. The idea is that we have a nice little yield in the knees and the hips, and you absorb yourself and boom, launch yourself back into the sky. So absorb, launch, nice and controlled on the way down, and then nice and explosive as you bounce off the ground. Next, we're moving to the pogos. So now we're taking the knees and the hips away from the equation, and we're just focusing on the feet, the ankles, and the Achilles tendons. So especially from the back here, you can see how now the knees and the hips, they don't bend very much at all, and you're just bouncing on your feet, on your ankles, on your Achilles tendons as if you're a pogo stick. Then we're moving to some lateral pogos with a little bit of a skip. So here in the beginning, you can start with nice and small hopping and skipping as you figure this movement out. I just want you to focus on being nice and rhythmic, be nice and relaxed. And then as you warm up to this exercise and as you get more confident, like me here, you can start actually increasing the amount of hop a little bit. So you cover a little bit more distance from a side to side perspective and even hop a little bit higher. And that's going to challenge you to a much, much higher degree. So if this feels a little bit difficult, because I know that this can be a challenging exercise for a lot of people, you can just keep the distance that you're hopping from side to side, keep it nice and short. And then as you get more confident, as you get more comfortable with this exercise, and as you get stronger, then you can increase the distance that you're covering, because it's much more challenging for you to cover a larger distance from a side to side perspective. Next, we're moving to some A skips. So now we're doing this running mechanics drill, which is very, very nice because it's going to improve your running. It's going to help you to build postural awareness and also some really nice elasticity and bounce that's going to carry over to running. Next up, we're going to be doing single leg pogos. So this is by far the most challenging of these plyometric exercises that we've done here today, these bouncy drills, because now we're again taking that knee and the hip out of the equation and we're just mostly bouncing on your foot, your ankle, and your Achilles tendon. If this is too difficult, if it doesn't feel good, if you feel any pain, don't do it, but instead do this exercise with 2 legs. So have 2 legs on the ground and you can just bounce forward and you just do the same amount of sets with 2 legs as opposed to doing this single leg pogos. Next up, we're going to be moving into our resistance training section of this session here. So we're going to be starting with the single leg kickstand Hinge, which is my absolute favorite exercise for improving the way in which your hips move and also for building huge hip muscles, building huge glutes and hamstrings. The idea here is that you have to bend the knee of the leg that's in front, and then you have to keep the knee bent and aim that sit bone, aim your back pocket towards the sky and towards the back of the room. So I want you to really see how my hips are next to each other here, and I'm holding the weight on the opposite side so that it actually turns my pelvis a bit more towards the front leg. And then you're going to put your hand on your glute, and that's again going to turn you a bit more towards that front leg. And if you can stay turned towards that front leg and then bend the knee and then aim the sit bone to the sky, you are going to be feeling some very, very nasty things in your glutes here. This is a really, really good exercise, and if you can't feel your glutes here, it's probably because you're rounding from the spine or that you've allowed yourself to turn away from the front leg. So that's why it's so useful to have the hands in these particular positions. Next up, we're moving into our Bulgarian split squats. And specifically today, I'm going to be using a variation where I lifted my heel off the ground because I'm really focusing on my running at the moment. I really want to strengthen my mid-foot muscles and my ankles to the highest degree possible. So that's why I allow my heel to lift off the ground here. So that's really going to be bringing the foot muscles into action. You're going to be holding the weight in this front rack position on the opposite side, and then that other hand can be useful to just have it there on the pelvis and on the glute so that you can really feel that your pelvis is just moving straight down in space and coming straight up. The idea is that you push that front knee forward and you can drop straight down to the basement, and then you push the front knee forward again and you can just move straight up and down as if you're inside an elevator shaft. This should not be an escalator exercise, not forward and back movement, but mostly just an elevator exercise. Literally just straight down and up in the elevator shaft. Push the knee forward, drop straight down to the basement and push the knee forward again on the way up. Then we're moving into our upper body exercises. So we're doing this one arm row, and I want you to really notice how I'm rowing the kettlebell towards my hip. I don't row the kettlebell towards my shoulder, but instead I row the kettlebell towards my hip. So that's how you really make this into a very effective back exercise. And I want you to notice on this side how I'm actually pushing the bench away and I'm reaching myself away from the bench with the left side of my body. So now this really becomes a full body exercise, and you should feel your abs even if you're doing it correctly. Then we're moving into our horizontal push exercise for the day, which is going to be the Top Gun push-up. So in the Top Gun push-up, your nose and your zipper are going to touch the ground at the same time, and there's going to be a little bit of a pause both at the bottom and at the top. And I want you to pay attention to the shoulder blades. See how the shoulder blades are moving. Shoulder blades retract and come together on the way down, and then on the way up, the shoulder blades are going to reach, and actually the shoulder blades are going to hug the rib cage as I reach all the way up. So now look at the shoulder blades. They go together as I retract, and then they reach as I protract. It's really important that you're moving your shoulder blades correctly. Then we're going to be challenging your calves and your ankles a bit more specifically again. So we're going to do this bent knee single leg calf exercise. So you're going to use the post just for a little bit of support. Don't pull yourself up with your upper body. Don't cheat here. It's very easy. You're going to bend that knee, and then you want to keep your weight through the big toe knuckle of the foot that's doing the work. Don't let your weight shift to the outside edge of the foot. you're gonna feel a lot more calf, and you're gonna get a lot more out of this if you can keep that inside edge of that big toe heavy. Finally, we're gonna finish with some abs. So we're gonna be doing this leg raise exercise that's quite challenging. I want you to focus on using as little momentum as possible. Try to lift up as high as you can and then control and slow the legs down on the way down. Lift without momentum and control on the way down. That is how you're going to be giving your ab muscles and your hip flexors a very, very nice stimulus with this exercise. Don't cheat, don't use too much momentum. All right, guys, that's it. Another very minimalist but very effective session done. We started with some athleticism and some elasticity, worked into some full body strength training, finished with a little bit of carbs and a little bit of abs. If you've enjoyed this and you know of someone else who you think would also enjoy this, would you please do them and me a favor and share this video and my channel with them? Make sure that you've subscribed to the channel already, and let me know in the comments if you'd like me to do videos like this in the future, because to be honest with you, I'm quite enjoying this. Make sure to follow me on Instagram. My handle is @Coach Pyry. Thank you so much for watching and listening. I'll see you in the next video.